knows best. Sharus from Sri Lanka says, there is a hadith by Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, that the Prophet, I think, prayed Ishaa once, and he addressed the congregation, and he said that there won't pass 100 years and any of you remain on earth. So he has a confusion. How is this possible, providing that this hadith is or can also be inclusive of the Dajjal, whom Tamim Ad Dari, as in Sahih Imam Muslim, may Allah be pleased with him, saw him chained on an island. And he came to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet approved of that, and he conveyed what he had seen on his journey to the companions, that Tamim had seen the Dajjal, and the Dajjal will remain until the end of time. So Sharus is confused. How is this possible? First of all, the Prophet did not say, to my recollection, 100 years. He said qarn, and qarn refers to the generation. And this is why when we look at the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, khayrul quruni qarni, the best of generations is my generation. Qarn also means a horn. It means also a century. So if it's a century, it's 100 years. And this is debatable, whether the companions exceeded 100 years or less or whatever. But definitely what is meant in the hadith is generation. So the best of generations is my generation, the generation of the companions. Then the tabi'een, then the tabi'it tabi'een, regardless of how long the eldest of them had lived. So this is a generation. So the hadith is referring to the Prophet addressing his companions, telling them that no one should exceed 100 years from them, from that night, which is their generation. And according to some of the scholars, they have monitored the last of the companions' death, and it was something around that era, which means that he did not exceed 100 years. And with that, his generation was over. Does this mean that every single creature would not surpass the mark of 100 years from that night? This is not what the Prophet meant, alaihi salatu wasallam. And the Arabic language is a must for us to study, because without it, people would probably think of things that go against the Arabic language. For example, تُدَمِّرُ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ بِأَمْرِ رَبِّهَا, about the wind that came and annihilated the people of Ad and Thamud, etc. Allah says that it annihilates, it destroys everything with the instruction of Allah Azza wa Jal, yet you see only their homes present and nothing else. Okay, everything should include the homes. But in Arabic, this is known as siyagh al-umum, that in Arabic, not everything is mentioned. The queen of Sheba, Bilqis, in Surah An-Naml, وَأُوتِيَتْ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ, she was given from everything. But she had no control over the jinn, like Sulaiman had. She had no powers like Sulaiman had. So where is everything? This is a form of exaggeration, not meant literally to include everything. And likewise, the Prophet was addressing the companions, ﷺ, that everything is going to not live after 100 years, with the exception of what I told you before, which is the Dajjal and him staying till the end of time, and Allah knows best.